Hey, everybody. Welcome to our next panel. I think one of the last of the day. Um, this panel is titled What It Takes to Beat the Odds. I'm going to start off with some introductions and some bios, and then we'll get started on the conversation. All right. So first, I'd like to introduce Mr. Calvin Duncan. Mr. Calvin Duncan is the founder and director of the Light of Justice program, which is focused on improving legal access for incarcerated individuals. Falsely accused of murder at the age of 19, he endured a life sentence without the possibility of parole in Louisiana prisons for more than 28 years. While incarcerated, he became an inmate counsel substitute or jailhouse lawyer, which is for sale in the bookstore. That's the title of his book. Helping hundreds of fellow prisoners challenge wrongful convictions and unjust sentences. His efforts have contributed to landmark U.S. Supreme Court decisions, including Smith v. Kane, 2012, and Ramos v. Louisiana, 2020. Duncan holds a JD from Lewis and Clark Law School and resides in New Orleans, where he continues his advocacy work on behalf of those still behind bars. Let's welcome Mr. Calvin Duncan.
Thank you.
All right, and then I'd like to introduce Mr. Albanier C. Eugene Jr. He's the author. He's the author of Momentum, which is going to be available for signing after this. 100 Devotions to Regain Hope for Your Life and Future. His debut book releases October 13th. He's an ordained minister and community builder who has a deep passion for spiritual formation, emotional wellness, and cultural renewal. Through viral videos, speaking engagements, the Momentum Academy, and more, he helps people find lasting peace, holistic healing, and authentic rest in a restless world. Let's welcome Mr. Albanier. All right, you guys, this is going to be a great panel, not just because of our panelists, but there's some great questions that are prepared. The first one, both of your books ask readers to keep going when the odds feel overwhelming. Can you take us back to a moment when perseverance stopped being an abstract idea and became a reality? It became a daily reality of survival and practice for you.
Testing. Okay. So when we was kids here in New Orleans, Louisiana is the incarceration capital of the world, we knew two things. We was going to either go to prison at a young age or get killed. So we used to sing these prison songs about our age going to rhyme with the crime that we was going to be sent to Angola. But we, as kids, we didn't know that they had a system that was going to make that a reality. So fast forward, in 1982, I was arrested for a murder I didn't commit, and they put me on a unit with guys that had already been sentenced to death. And I told them that I didn't commit my crime, and it was like, look, man, you're going to get the death penalty. They're going to execute you because, one, you have the same lawyer that I have. You have the same judge, same prosecutor. And besides that, the victim in your case is white, and the young man, and the witness in your case is white. So I asked them, you know, how can I help myself? And that's when they told me I had to become a lawyer. So that's when the reality really hits me that the song that we were singing as kids now is a reality that here I am going to be executed for a crime I didn't commit, but I had to learn the law. I only had between the 8th and 9th grade education, so it hit home, and that's when I started trying to learn the law to help myself from being sentenced to death.
Yeah, for me, it was getting my education. I went and got my master's degree in counseling. Really helped me learn a lot of the unhealthy parts of how I think, how I see the world, how I'm moving through the world. I think for me, after getting educated, I got held accountable to living in a healthier way, which, to be short, is to answer the question, it's like, that's when it became a lifestyle. It's when I started to know better, and I started to understand, like, wait, there's a better way, there's a healthier way. So yeah, that was for me when I got my master's degree. Yeah.
Awesome. It sounds like a raised level of consciousness for the both of you. So there's a difference between simply surviving and actively believing that something better is still possible. I like to say that, or not like to say, but I do think we live in a nihilistic society. A lot of the kids have lost hope and they think there's no purpose to anything. So clearly you all have purpose, you're writing these books, you're out here speaking. How did you learn to hold on to hope without denying the reality of what you're facing?
Well, after they told me that I had to become a lawyer, and the guys, the men that I was in prison with, they wasn't, they didn't feel the need to be lying to us about what needed to happen. So trying to study law, I actually fell in love with law. I really did. And especially when I started reading, I read about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And then how I am looking at the Bill of Rights, and half of them was directed to protect people like me, accused of crimes, being prosecuted, like the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th, and first right access to the court in the position of the government. So here I am reading about what the people back then knew what they needed to protect themselves from being oppressed and abused. And I'm reading it in the Constitution, and it made sense that half of them was directed to protect people like me. And I came to the realization, with only between the 8th and 9th grade education, that if I learn how to wield that power, that is the law, I could be a powerful person, not only to help myself, but to help other people. So, and I always say, really, we got to, if some people might not believe the law, but the law is the weapon that really these people are using to crush people, spirit and everything else. So if I learn how to wield that power, I could be a powerful person. And if I could convince other people that we have the most powerful tool that this country could give anybody, they too could be empowered. That's in empowering the people to really face the reality of living here in the United States, not in a fairy tale land where we was living in a projects where we was able to blame everybody for our downfall, and understanding that we have a tool, the Bill of Rights, to wield it, to protect ourselves like they thought way back then when they created this country. So that's what kept me going, that if I could just learn how to live in America, if I could ever go to America, that is, get out of prison, and wield this power that they have given me, that's hope there. That's hope that we could do just about anything, because then we realize that law is what governs our lives here, that law is the thing that they're using to crush us, and that if I could learn how to wield it, I'd be all right, and we all could be all right.
Yeah, repeat the question one more time.
Yeah. How did you learn to hold on to hope without denying the reality of what you're facing?
Yeah, I think, and I talk about it in the book a lot too, like I think in life you have to make sure you focus on what actually matters. I feel like so much doesn't matter. So much is just kind of like here today, gone tomorrow. But people matter. For like meaningful relationships really do matter. And I'm finding, and I really love this about meeting people, it's like people invite you into a new world. It's like what they know, what they've been through, what they've experienced. Maybe they could put you on something. You're like, wow, I never knew that until you told me. I didn't see it that way until you brought that to my attention. It's like, oh, wow, you put me on and you had me meet this individual that I didn't know was going to transform my life. I feel like people give me hope. Like, I feel like one of the ways that God just reminds me that he loves me is by putting great people in my life. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like if you speaking about the generation, I feel like if we get excited again about doing life with people, I feel like if we get excited again about meeting new people, and the people who hear me say that, and maybe they go like, but people hurt me in the past. Like we did a panel earlier talking about how like the same way people can hurt you is the same way some of us will meet people that will just, really set us up on a beautiful healing journey. Like my wife is here. She loved me back to life when I was in a very difficult season. Like people are beautiful people, amazing people. They give me hope. You see what I'm saying? For sure.
And you guys are giving me hope. Now I'm going to ask I don't know if this is a challenging question, but it's a question I like to ask black men. I'm deviating from the script. I'm a book talker, so I review books online for hopefully a living one day. And I have a tendency, and it goes viral almost all the time, to call out black men and their role in this space. So I'm telling black men to read Toni Morrison. I'm telling black men to get in the field like the black women are literally doing the work, at least from my perspective. What do you all see your role as black men in engaging not only the black men of your generations, but the younger generations, hopefully inspiring them to act for the next generations coming up?
That's you. I'm learning from you right now.
So what I always told myself back then, way back then when I was 19, how did I get here? How was I so naive? How what I know about where I'm at has been people that was educating me failed to tell me that there are a group of people, and I'm gonna feel comfortable saying white supremacists. They are intended they are intended to make sure that the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the 15th Amendment does not become a reality. And so, with all of that pressure is being put on us, black men, and this spirit of white supremacists that looking for horses to capture in a work through, it has no boundaries, not just to white men, white people. It embodies us too. And now we are doing some of the same stuff that white supremacists would have us doing. That is, forgetting about the struggle, the pressure, the system, even in the Bible where they talk about, about men. The Bible teaches you that the leaders, the elite, the king is going to destroy men, boys. Moses, Jesus. I always say Jesus was on the run before he was even conceived. Moses was sought after before. It's like this is a spiritual thing that they're going after boys first. And then when we have, no disrespect, black sisters not understanding that we have been under so much attack, and some of us just don't. It takes a lot to keep going. It does. My book talks about this, and my co-author is Sophie Cole. When I got out of prison, I used to try to go on dates. I always say I'm gonna meet a nice, I know my potential. I'm gonna challenge the system. I need to meet me a nice sister. And every time I went on these dates, it was like, look, man, look. You don't have nothing else to talk about? I'm talking about prison. And I was rejected over and over and over. So to answer your question in a nutshell, from a spiritual realm, the powers that be is going to continue to go after black boys first. And if they could destroy that mind, then it leads into adulthood. And then when, like in the 90s, they said that they wrote a paper like this. They said they were going to make black men so despicable that black women wouldn't even want to even date us. So I don't know that answered your question. But we've been under a tremendous amount of attack. And my book talks about that kind of attack. And it talks about how not giving up when you're in power, the next brother.
We gonna get to it. Mr. Alphadir.
Yeah. What's my role, or how do I envision my role in helping the generation?
Yeah.
I am someone who didn't have a lot of education growing up, and so I have a burden to make sure that people get a chance to learn something new. I have a burden to make sure that, like even my videos, if anyone here knows me from my videos, I'm telling this to y'all, no one knows this, but I'm just talking to the younger me. Like there are people there and they're helping me film and I'm conveying a message that's reaching the world, but my desire is to reach that young kid who's sitting in his room who just doesn't know any better. That's why my work is all about what I've learned. Just letting people kind of in to see whether it's how I live, lessons I've learned, the decisions I've made. And I feel personally that is my role, to just continue to give back when it comes to wisdom and information and education, especially when it comes to how men and women are different. There's a chapter in my book called Men and Women Are Different, and I didn't learn that until later on in my life. Like, we think differently, we move differently, and our differences really help each other. If we come together and we continue to protect one another, like, there's beautiful things we can do, but my job, or my role, so to speak, is if I'm in the presence of somebody in the generation before me or after me, like, I want to make sure I'm sharing what I've learned. Hopefully they can skip some bad decisions or mistakes along the way, because that's what I would have needed or would have wanted, and so that's what I want to get back.
Absolutely. I like kind of, you were alluding to speaking to the younger you, and I think Dr. Sarita alluded to it earlier, like speaking to your inner child, nurturing that inner child will by default nurture the inner child of the community. I know we're running out of time, so let me ask maybe one more question. When you hear the phrase "beat the odds," do you think of one breakthrough moment in your own life, or is it something quieter and more ongoing, or rather a decision made again and again when you hear "beat the odds"?
Beat the odds as it relate to,
Like the phrase.
I don't really know how to answer that, but I've always thought in my own life, I've beat the odds because there's so much. It's just the thing that happens to us, and it talks about that in the book, is in the law. The law allows it. The law allows them to prosecute young kids. The law allows them to execute innocent people. And the law said, like in here in Louisiana, life means the rest of your life. I don't care how much you grow up in prison and educate yourself. The law says the remainder of your life. And I always said, if God ever came down, looked down and checked me out, he would be proud of me. And I would beat the odds. And I did beat the odds. And so when I got out of prison, and the big books talks about that, I made sure that I continue to help people beat the odds, because life means life here. Death penalty means death penalty. And it's with a guilty verdict, that means that the rest of your life, society has thrown you away. So if we, for some reason, make it through this, that is beating odds because it's entrenched in our laws.
Yeah, something practical with that quote. Is anybody here grateful that you're still in your right mind? You still could think straight, move your body. You could be here at Essence Fest chilling. To me, that's beating the odds. Like, I feel like every day I wake up, like there's a scripture that says there's new mercy every morning. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, people on the team is here. Like, when we be on Zoom calls, I'll be like, I'm alive. That's my update. I'm alive. I'm still here. I'm still breathing, and I'm grateful for that. I feel like all of us, we all have been through some crazy stuff in our lives, and like technically we shouldn't still be here. Like, I can confidently say that's a part of all of our stories, but the fact that we're still here, to me, is just like, we beat the odds, and I'm grateful to be here, and I think beating the odds is waking up the next day. If God wakes you up, amen. And then the second piece is making sure that you live a meaningful life while you're here. You only get one life. That's becoming more and more of a reality to me, and especially with Momentum. Like, my desire is people to take ownership of your life, like just reclaim it all the way back, and live the life that you owe to yourself. Like, we owe it to ourselves to wake up, whether it's getting the support we need, getting accountability we need, getting the right people around us, or if we could just do it by ourselves and with the help of the Holy Spirit, like, we owe it to ourselves to really see the life or the future that would come if we would just take advantage of the fact that we're still breathing. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's my answer.
I love that. I think I have one more question, and I want to ask this because me and you, Abner, were talking about the title of your book backstage, but also hopefully like best wishes for what the final cover design might have as far as special editions maybe one day. I would love for you to talk about why you titled your book Momentum, and then if someone from the team can get us a copy that you can hold, I would like for you to, oh, thank you, to go into the design choice as to why you designed it
Thank
that
you,
way.
Javon. Yeah, so momentum to me is important. Like if you put a small pebble or a rock on some railroad tracks, let me make sure I'm giving you guys the right example. My nerves are getting to me. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Let me pick a different example. So if you put a rock on some railroad tracks, it could be the greatest train in the world. It's not going to get through that rock if it doesn't have momentum. You give that same train momentum, it could blow through this whole building. Anything with some real momentum behind it is going to make some great progress in whatever destination it's going into. And my desire is I don't want to see people quit. It's my temptation to quit all the time. Just give up. Like, all right, this is it. The next inconvenience, discouragement, situation, the stuff that we be having to deal with. And we'll say it. What do we say as we get older? There's a quote that we say becomes too real. It's always something. It's always something. And so my desire is if I can come alongside anyone in their journey, give you some momentum to move. I tried to make something that was for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, during the week, a hold your hand type of experience, because that's what the Lord has gifted me to do, is encourage people, give you momentum. I can almost guarantee you, if you read this book, you'll have momentum. But if you talk with me and I have you in that moment, you're going to get momentum to move forward. Like if you're in my life, I will make sure you don't quit. So the attempt with this book is that I can be in your life, even from afar, to make sure you don't quit. Even when you're bugging out on Wednesday because somebody's getting on your nerves, or you feel like this is every reason in the book why you should give up, well, guess what? You go to Wednesday and be like, let me just read what Al's talking about, and it's going to give you momentum. And the design on it is just some forward movement. It's a quote that I used to say when I was really young, for anybody, just in case you know me for a long time. My desire is to help people move forward in every aspect of their life, and that the journey really does continue. Like you literally, here's a cheat code. You just got to keep moving forward. You just got to keep moving forward. I don't care if you do your story is amazing, and I'm blown away how you've endured all that. But you just kept moving forward. Even when it was ugly, if we just keep moving forward, and if anybody needs some practicality, you don't know what forward is, ask for help. Ask for help. We owe it to ourselves to see what's on the other side. And so that's, hope that answered the question.
That was great. There's always intentionality. We actually have to wrap up, but I would just wanted to say, as someone who's into books, there's so much intentionality behind cover designs and why authors do what they do. So I hope everyone appreciates it. With that said, we do have copies of The Jailhouse Lawyer
Yes,
in
sir.
the in the bookstore, and they will be able to be signed afterwards. But we also have these really cool things called advanced reader copies of Momentum. That means you get an early copy of Albanier's book before it is published later this fall. So if you want a signed copy, please line up on this side, and you will get your signed copy. And if that's it, thank you both for being on this
Thank you.
panel. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you. And if anybody wants to talk on the side, I'm going to be here for a little longer before I leave. But thank you, guys.
That's awesome. Momentum. That's the